Forgiveness is a touchy subject when it comes to narcissists and narcissistic abuse. In this video, I'm going to talk about why, whether or not you forgive a narcissist, it is not useful to let them know that you've done so. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. Forgiveness can be really difficult when it comes to certain things, the least of which is not narcissistic abuse. It's really hard to forgive someone that has done so much emotional damage to you and is not sorry and won't even acknowledge it. That being said, a lot of us hear things and believe things about the usefulness and healing qualities of forgiving someone. Forgiveness generally is thought to be a noble, mature, nice, generous, healing thing to do. But it's important not to become too confused when we think about forgiving a narcissist versus letting a narcissist know that we've forgiven him or her. Now, I first want to preface everything by saying, in my opinion, whether or not you want to forgive somebody that has abused you is completely up to you. I don't believe that there's a right or wrong way to go about this, and I don't think that anyone that has hurt you that deeply is somehow somebody that you should forgive. I think that that's a personal choice, and while I think that it can help with healing, it's much easier said than done, and I don't think that you need to feel like there's anything wrong with you if you are unable to forgive someone that's done terrible things. But the point of this video really is more to explain how forgiveness is perceived from the narcissist's perspective. When we are going through our healing process, we may find a point where we start to feel an ability within ourselves to forgive a narcissist for what he or she has done. And I just want to put the brakes on a little bit and caution you against reaching out to the narcissist and using this as either an excuse to reach out to the narcissist or thinking that this is going to somehow gain you the closure that you're probably desperately wanting to receive. If you want to reach out to a narcissist and let them know that you forgive them, that's your business. But I think that it's important for you to understand realistically what that will cause and how it will be received. Narcissists do not want you to forgive them. They will not appreciate the gesture. It's important to understand that to forgive someone is to imply that they've done something wrong. Narcissists almost never are able to acknowledge that they have done anything that is worthy of forgiveness. So if you reach out to a narcissist to forgive them, you're also implying that they've done something that needs to be forgiven. You're really just insulting them. As right as you probably are that they have done something that requires forgiveness, that doesn't mean that they're going to agree with that idea. I'm talking about pathological narcissism here. I'm talking about a pathology. So in order for you to understand how a narcissist would feel if you were to reach out with forgiveness, just imagine how you would feel after everything this person's put you through if they reached out to you and told you that they forgive you for everything that they've done to you. And I'll bet that some of us have actually experienced that. Think of what a slap in the face that is. Think of how frustrating and invalidating and traumatizing that might even be to have someone that's terrorized you tell you that you're forgiven for making them terrorize you. The perception of narcissists is backwards. That's kind of where the name for my channel comes from. Your perspective and the narcissist's perspective reflect each other. They mirror each other. And the narcissist is feeling all the things that you really have the right to feel. So if you reach out to forgive them, they're going to feel the same way that you would feel if they tried to reach out and forgive you. And this could potentially cause a situation in which you could actually get hurt because they're going to take it as an opportunity to gaslight you and confuse you and turn the narrative around on you. So you're really just asking for trouble if you try to reach out and forgive a narcissist, because like I said, while you're doing this, you're actually insulting them, which is going to provoke them into trying to defend themselves. Even though all you're doing is trying to forgive them, they're going to perceive that as an attack. So they're going to attack you back, and they may successfully throw you off balance and distort your sense of reality and maybe cause you to question yourself. Narcissists don't live in reality. They don't perceive reality based on anything real that's actually happened or anything that they've actually done. They perceive reality based on how they feel about things. I remember towards the end of a narcissistic relationship that I was in that was going very poorly and was becoming extremely difficult to live in. We were having an argument, and I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I was challenging him on some things that he had done that were really abusive, egregious actions. And he responded by justifying his actions in ways that really didn't make any sense. And then he said, "What do you want me to say?" And I looked at him and I said, "Sorry," just like that. And he looked at me in all seriousness and said, "Okay, I accept your apology." That was a few years ago, and I still to this day don't know if he was serious, but he seemed serious as a heart attack. And I think that maybe, as ridiculous as all that was, it's kind of just a way for a pathological mindset to try to mold reality into whatever makes him look and feel better about himself. And to try to imagine forgiving somebody like that, it's really a complete waste of time and an invitation for more confusion and abuse. It's important to remember that narcissists feel wronged by your disapproval. It doesn't matter what they've done or what's happened. You don't have the right, in their mind, to disapprove of anything they do. You're supposed to give them a pass all the time because there's always an excuse, and you're supposed to buy into those excuses. They could throw you out of a speeding car, and they're going to feel wronged and assaulted by your disapproval of that. It doesn't matter what they do. You don't have a right to attack them with your disapproval. So in this same vein, they don't want your forgiveness. They want you to accept unconditionally everything that they've done. Not just to accept it, but to see it as okay, to see it as justified, to kind of sit back and just say, that's fine, everything's fine. And something that is justified doesn't require forgiveness. The only time that they want you upset or disapproving of something that they've said or done is when they have purposely provoked you, so that they can look at your behavior that you're exhibiting out of defense of what they're doing to you, and they can point at you and pretend that you're the one with the problem, that you're the one that's always getting upset, and that everything's your fault. But you're not actually supposed to hold them accountable. You're just supposed to make a fool out of yourself so that they can pretend that you're the one that actually needs to be forgiven. And I have an entire video on how narcissists will never actually forgive you. And that's important to remember. They will not accept forgiveness, and they won't give it out either. Narcissists view forgiveness as a power dynamic. If you are forgiving somebody, you are coming from a place of power. If you are receiving forgiveness, you are giving power to the person that is forgiving you. If I'm very sorry for something and I'm begging someone for forgiveness, I'm kind of, in a sense, bowing at their feet. I'm humbling myself before them, and I'm asking them to give me something out of the generosity of their heart. So if I'm asking a narcissist for forgiveness, that's really something that they're going to feel good about. It's going to make them feel powerful. And they're not going to want to forgive me because that would be giving that power away. They're going to revel in the fact that someone is asking them for forgiveness, but they're not going to actually forgive that person because they're reveling too much in the feeling of somebody asking them for it. So on the flip side of that, they're going to be very slow to ever ask or expect forgiveness from anyone. The only time you're ever going to see this is when they push things too far and somebody threatens or actually does abandon them in some way. And in this case, when they're asking for forgiveness, it's not really genuine. They don't really believe that they're in the wrong. They just know that they have to kind of pretend that they're in the wrong, go along with things, ask for forgiveness in order to manipulate things back into position where they feel like they have control again. But make no mistake, in those types of situations where a narcissist feels coerced to ask for forgiveness from somebody, once things are back in place and once the narcissist feels like they're back in control of things, the person that they had to ask forgiveness from is going to pay for that. So is forgiving a narcissist really helpful in any way? I don't know. In my opinion, it does absolutely no good whatsoever to let a narcissist know that you forgive him or her. And in fact, like I said, it could actually cause some problems. But if you're able to forgive someone for the kinds of things that narcissists typically do, I'm sure that it could benefit you and it could help you in healing. But I just want to say that not being able to forgive someone doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Not being able to forgive someone doesn't automatically mean that you're not trying hard enough, that you're not doing the work, that you somehow owe it to the universe to forgive everyone that does horrible things to you. Narcissists can completely ruin your life, and they're not sorry, and they don't care, and they can do damage that lasts you for the rest of your life. I think that forgiveness is very healing, but it's for you. It's not for anyone else, and nobody else has a right to tell you who you should and should not forgive. It's a very personal thing, and if you're unable to do it, I would encourage you to continue to explore that part of yourself, to try to let go of the things that are making it difficult to forgive. But if you're unable to forgive at the end of the day, I still think that you should be able to heal, and that you don't owe that to anyone, and that it doesn't make you a bad person, and that it doesn't mean that you aren't going to be able to move on with your life. Personally, I'm still working with the idea of forgiveness, and I'm still trying to understand the difference between letting someone off the hook and looking at something as fine and okay and forgiving them, especially if you're forgiving someone that's not sorry. For me, if someone genuinely apologizes and is sincerely sorry, I personally don't have a hard time forgiving just about anything under those circumstances. But trying to forgive someone that actually thinks that everything is your fault, that's actually done terrible things to you and is continuing to blame you for years afterwards, that's hard. I have a really hard time with that. The direction that I'm going is trying to forgive someone by recognizing the motivations that they have, the perspective that they have, and the limitations that they have in their maturity and their development and their weaknesses and their inability to see things realistically and their inability to handle life in a mature way. It doesn't make anything they do okay or acceptable, but it does make it a little more understandable. If a criminal commits a crime, we might forgive that person, but they still have to serve their sentence. It doesn't make their action okay. It doesn't undo anything that was done. It lets us off the hook, not them. And it helps us to stop defining ourselves based on things that have happened to us. And it helps us to focus on things that make us happy in our lives and allows us to move on. I don't think it's quite the same thing as forgiving someone that's truly sorry. Forgiveness doesn't make anything that someone's done to you okay, but if you're able to accomplish it, it might make you okay. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and you would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.